a preseason game, but your first as a head coach. Was it special in its own way?
Oh, it is special. Every time you step on the field, you feel that gratitude, right? So it was good in that aspect for sure.
I know you left a lot of veterans at home, and Nathan, played those really epic 4 plays to start the game. So what were your takeaways from what you saw out there from this group?
I think there were some flashes. I thought there was effort was there. We got to clean up things that are self-inflicted. And that's where training camp helps, right? Get those things fixed and learn to play cleaner.
Yeah, the penalties certainly stood out. Now, I don't know how many of those guys are going to be regulars in your lineup once the season starts, but is that something, I'm told that penalties weren't an issue for camp, for your scrimmages and things like that. Is that something you can address right away?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's every opportunity is an opportunity to learn, right? So, we'll make sure that, we focus on those things and, get better. And, guys have to, be open-minded and, choose to learn from those lessons as well. And, if they don't, then, we'll go somewhere else.
One for me is Jackson Finley. And just, first professional game, he's still a real young kid and played him a lot. Just what'd you see from him?
Yeah, you know what? I'll have to watch the tape a little bit more, but he's been having a very productive camp. Smart, likable, great teammate. He's going to do well for us, and I just like the way he works.
The injury situation, you had a number of people go down with what looked to be serious injuries from our vantage point. Una, especially, do you have any update on those guys? Or?
I don't right now. We'll continue to look at that afterwards, and once we get back to camp. But hopefully it's not serious. Those guys are they've had good camps. They're playing well, and we hope the best for them.
Were there players that flashed to you? Obviously, you're going to watch the tape, but were there first impression guys that have stuck out for you?
Well, yeah, it's always tough just right now. I think when you look at the overall production on what some guys did, that might jump off the stat page, but really camps about digging down to the details in the preseason and watch what's going on away from the ball as well too, right? So we looked at some things that we wanted to make sure we focused on this year, and being physical and rallying and chasing the ball and stuff like that. So I thought for the most part there was some of that. We need more, but I thought a couple guys they jumped out and did a good job.
Chase Brice got a long run at quarterback. What did you see from him?
I think if you ask Chase, he probably missed a couple things here and there, but he battled through some things, made some nice throws. Used his legs a couple times, which was good to see. I thought he got the guys in and out of the huddle well. Just like anything, as a quarterback, you're going to be pretty hard on yourself. When you look at film and stuff like that. So I think it's a good growing process for him. Able to get a lot of time, and see a lot of different things. So, I thought he did a good job.
Last one from me. There'll be some people cracking jokes because Nathan goes out there and only plays 4 plays, but what does he get from that? Why stick him out there for those plays?
Well, anytime you go on the field, it's good. I mean, it's new offense, new cadence, new plays, all that kind of stuff. New voice in the huddle, so there's every rep is quality reps, right? And we wanted Nathan to get out there and take the first snaps, and that's what we did.